Good morning. So glad you all can be here this morning for our faculty meeting. I wanted to take the time this morning to revisit the idea and concept of learning styles. And learning styles is certainly not new to any of us. It goes back to our Ed Psych Days 101. However, just a brief recap of what it is. Carl Jung came up with this idea. He was a psychoanalyst and a psychiatrist back in the 60s, and he hypothesized that a student or child will have different learning styles, and he categorized them in three ways: kinesthetic, oral, and visual. And he hypothesized that there was a teaching method that would match that particular learning style. And if you identified that child's learning style and matched it with the teaching, the correct teaching, then the hypothesis was that the student would receive a higher level of knowledge and greater success. Well, that idea really started to take root in various ways. It just kind of felt right. It felt intuitive. I think all of us can relate to the fact, or we've witnessed over and over again, class after class, year after year, students seem to learn differently. What works for one doesn't work for the other. And so it seemed very plausible that we would come to that kind of conclusion. The other appeal to it is that we all like the idea of our individuality, and being able to adjust instruction to individuality was kind of a new concept. And the other appeal to it is the whole idea that every child can learn. You just need to find that right method to get them to learn. So it's quite appealing to be able to adopt that as a credible thing. So if that's the case, what's the problem? Well, the problem is about 9 years ago, Cofield, who's a psychologist and educational psychologist and researcher, decided to review the literature and see whether, in fact, this can be proved. Is it correct? And he found some very disturbing evidence that there was a lack of proof that this, in fact, teaching straight to a child's learning style really did make an impact. Even though he brought up a lot of the concerns, really his concerns went largely ignored. So when they went through this process, unfortunately, they found out that there really wasn't any studies out there that took that scientific method. Therefore, their conclusions are the hypothesis is invalid. Furthermore, they acknowledged that what we are seeing as educators is, yes, students are achieving at different levels because they all have different aptitudes, and we all have preferences for how we like to learn. They acknowledge that if you would ask somebody how they would like to learn, it might not necessarily be what they really need in terms of teaching methods to help them. At New Covenant Academy, while we do not particularly purchase curriculum specifically aimed at learning styles, nor do we identify on a formal level a learning style and teach to it, what I'm thinking is maybe we, in alignment with current research, maybe we change our discourse and the way we express that to, instead of learning style, we talk about learning strategies. So I'm recommending that we continue to employ an array of methods that include exploration, kinesthetic learning, oral, instructional, verbal, all of the various methods that we all know to be true. Continue offering those strategies, but just not necessarily pinpoint it to specific student. It's important to note that the cognitive theorists of today are not completely refuting the learning style approach. What they're basically saying is that really there needs to be further research with the right methodology to back it up.